All right, hold on, let me get this Amazon link, and looks like we are live. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Just sitting here, thought I would do a Q&A for you lovely people. We had a really good one yesterday. I cut the one yesterday a hair short. The super chats were really good, but I was getting tired, had to do a consultation call last night. But I'm like, you know what, we did good enough. We got plenty of super chats. And but let's come in today. Let's see how it goes. No expectations. You guys kind of see the topic, kind of my running joke, with natural hypertrophy, him being deported, and he probably did. Dude was a weirdo, went MIA after making his little money, and that was the end of it. Prime with a Y. Hello, Coach. What's going on? Prime with a Y. How you doing, brother? But hit that like button, guys. We got bunches of likes already in the first minute, so I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty strong live. You guys saw the workout footage today. I was a little tired on the workout today. Some of my muscles felt a little under recovered, so I skipped the deadlifts. But I think Friday I'll make sure to be really rested up. But Monday we did phenomenally well. It's kind of one of those to where it almost seems like if my Monday workout goes extremely good, and then I do a conditioning session between the Wednesdays, sometimes can be down a little bit. I saw the same thing last week. But, on Monday, we had PRs, right? The high bar squat was up a little bit. The bench was that same PR. We did it smoother, had a pull-up PR, tricep extension PR. It was just kind of hitting hard on Monday. But it's also because I had Sunday off. Right, we had Sunday off. So I do think with some of that, I have the training itself really good. But I do need to make sure I get enough sleep. Need to make sure we get all that stuff sorted. Also, I need to be careful with how much GBP I do on the off days. So again, we can keep all that flowing. Again, particularly with the diet restricted a bit. If I want to keep that dialed in, I have to be very, very careful of the overtraining. But I'm actually really enjoying the all-out intensity, to where we only do 1 or 2 sets for exercises, right? The bench, we do 2 sets. A lot of stuff we're doing 1 set, squats, deadlifts, belt squat, weighted pull-ups. And I'm noticing we're getting a lot stronger that way. And that's the thing. Even if you end up only doing, 3 sets throughout the week of each exercise, and muscles are only getting, 6 sets or so, depending on how you overlap it, but you're progressing, you're in a good place based on all the data we have, real world observations of data. But I used to train similar to that and got good results in the past. And I feel like I didn't get as much out of the ultra high volumes. When I've used the different volumes, I don't get any extra muscle growth from it. All it does is cause soreness and beat up. But what's interesting, I think, for me, if you guys are listening to the vlog, my triceps were hurting. Even before I started the workout, my triceps had DOMs still. Coach, love these daily lives. Keeps me in my game. Just finished some protein powder yogurt with almond butter. Good stuff, Matt. Glad to hear it, brother. But I think for me, because I'm hitting a lot of pressing PRs, I'm hitting tricep extension PRs, that my triceps are just getting hammered into the ground. But I know that they're what's going to get me to the next tier on my bench. I'm back up to 315 for 5. And when I say back up to, I was 15 pounds heavier when I exceeded that before. But now that I'm at the lighter body weight, I'm pushing it back up successfully. But I feel like for me, if I can just get my triceps stronger, and we are, but I've been surprised the tricep strength when I'm limiting the volume and saying, okay, what's the minimum amount of extensions we can get away with? And it's like 3 a week. I'm hitting PRs on that, and they're pretty substantial PRs, right? So what do we mean by that? Like at the start of the year, my 10 rep max was 110 pounds on the leg extension, right? Well, I did 125 for 14. So that's 15 more pounds on it and 4 more reps. I mean, I'll take the win. But yeah, so we're doing the live. So let's get some topics of conversation going here, guys. I'm also on Facebook. That's been kind of flowing off and on with the live. Some of those are getting quite a bit of questions too, because my outreach is picking up there a lot. It's picking up there a lot. So like Facebook has been growing again. Like for the last 28 days, I'm at 8.6 million views there. That's not the reach, that's the views. The reach will be a little different, So that's been in a really good place in its flow. So, and I'm going to keep pushing that. As you guys see, I'm starting to push memes and current events in there again, and that's really picking it up. I've learned how to avoid any rules issues or algorithms problems with that. And we'll see if I can get it to do what it did before. I'll say it doesn't have to. If it did 50% of what it did before, I'd be in a great place. So the only thing, though, I will point out for a lot of people, if you're wanting coaching, if you guys see my Facebook picking up, remember what happened last time my Facebook picked up? I raised coaching rates because supply and demand of my time. So just an FYI, anyone who's wanting to get locked in for coaching for next year, you may want to do it now, because if the Facebook really picks up, I'm going to raise the coaching rates. I'm going to raise them and then close off slots, meaning I may not be taking many new people on. I won't take more people than I really need. But obviously people who are currently on there locked in. I still have people who pay $200 from way back in the day. But yeah. All right, so what do you guys want to talk about? Matt, Prime of the Y, you guys haven't really brought up any conversations. Maybe we need a vote. Do we need a vote going on in here on the tubes? I can't really put polls in the Facebook one, I don't think. Or does it? Oh, it does give me the option for polls. All right, I got a poll. Let's get a poll going. All right. One of the best things I started doing in 2025 is bringing those barbell rows up so it hits the upper back more. There you go. Peeping the vlog, way to pull-ups getting real strong. Coming along, Ted. It is coming along. Of course, I got the back to go with it. Hey, Coach, do you think sexual orientation is born or made or both? I don't really know. I mean, I would argue certain philosophical things that there is a choice, but then again, I've never been able to be attracted to another man's hairy butt. So I don't know that that really is the case. I don't know that I can make myself do that. But then again, I mean, if I was like Cali Muscle, and I guess if I was in prison, people might see it different. I mean, so you guys remember when Cali Muscle was like, oh, listen up here, young blood. When you locked up in the penitentiary and there ain't no women's in there, you ain't seen a woman in 3 years, 3 or 4 years, you ain't seen a woman, and you in the shower and you see them soap suds roll down the crack of another man's ass. Oh, I'm just playing y'all them jokes. Happy Mud, right? Jason Bleep Blop. Yeah, his name for me was Jason Bleep Blop Floop Flop. We left out the uhs because he did a bunch of uhs. It says, over here, this ninja, Jason, Fleet Flop Bloop Blop, I don't know why he called me the N word. His natural hypertrophy, the dude that did lots of dudes did. He made 27 hours of them. No, he's not French, dude. He's Algerian. He has a fake French accent. Talking about Frenchie. Like you mean, hey, as a body, this is natural hypertrophy. And today we're going to talk about Jason Blé with my outrageous French accent. That guy. Yeah, dude, that accent's fake. He's Algerian. He's from Algeria. But it looks like he may have been deported. Yeah, that dude. Hopefully you didn't watch that trash dumpster stuff, man. No reasonable person would have watched that craziness. There. No reasonable person. Let's see, how's this vote going? Oh, your mom is winning the poll. Why does your mom always win? I need to quit putting your mom in there as an option because she wins the vote every single time. Unacceptable. Yeah, Ted, the way the pull-ups are coming along, man. We're getting strong. Lasts for days. Man, this is slow. I thought this was going to be a really good live because we had a bunch of likes early on. Cal's disaster coach, full-time scammer. Well, we know he's a scammer. I mean, he admits to being a terrible human being. Right? It's an amazing world we live in online fitness. I did satire years ago and lied about being a bad person, pretended to be a bad person in satire, and get hated for it when it turns out I'm really not a bad person. I just pretended to be. Right? He admits publicly to being a bad person. All the evidence is there and he doesn't get the same hate. I've never understood that. Like, I don't know. But then again, there's a lot of really terrible people out there, you know. So a lot of times, a lot of us would look at that and go, why would somebody so awful get followers? And then you realize there's a million people who've been to prison for violent crimes. There's drug dealers. There's drug addicts. There's all these people. Of course, that's who follows him. At what amount of calorie deficit do you feel it starts to become very hard to make any muscle gains? How long is a piece of string? We're all the way over to consultation level question because at that point, I need to know your full training history, how much you weigh, what your lifts are, how big of a deficit you're trying to run, how strong you are. Like there's a huge, huge number of variables involved, right? Ranging from how natural are you versus how enhanced, how big are you, how strong are you, how fat are you. All of those massively influence that. Because there's people who could have 1,000 calorie deficit. It is biologically possible, and plenty of people in this situation who 1,000 calorie a day deficit, they could gain just as much muscle as someone on a bulk. It's just called being really, really fat, right? So someone who's 400-pound fat guy could go on 1,000 calorie a day deficit and stack on 2 pounds of muscle every month. He could make his new gains at the same rate as a skinny guy bulking while losing 2 or 3 pounds every week. So you see the problem with your question? He can easily do it as long as he eats enough protein. Some advanced lifter who's 10% body fat is not gaining any muscle at all in any deficit. Pretty much not happening. So 100 calorie deficit, he's probably not gaining muscle at that point. So all of this is a sliding scale. Aiden. So hopefully that's helpful to you. So you need to understand a lot of these sort of questions. If you're looking for a fixed answer, it doesn't exist. It's a sliding scale. I see what you mean, that there's a ton of variables involved. Reassured to learn this, though. In the past, I was under the false impression that surpluses were absolutely essential for any gains. No. And even then, even bulking, going over about 100 calorie surplus doesn't cause any extra muscle growth when it's been studied. Like zero. It is purely fat gain. All of it is fat gain beyond that. So even for a surplus for someone who's quite lean, there's no benefit to big bulks. You're just gaining fat. What do you think about neck training? Well, that's two different questions. I think neck training can be pretty solid. I do it. Putting a plate on your forehead and laying on a bench if you don't have equipment, I don't know about that. No, definitely not your forehead, because then you're training just the front part. I don't even train that. I think that's a good way to get sleep apnea. So why are you doing that? Just training the extension end of it will give you most of what you're looking for injury risk, strengthening your neck, all of that. So it sounds like you're working the opposite end. Again, working the front. And I would question what it is that you're trying to get out of that, because you are risking giving yourself sleep apnea. So you need to make sure that you have a good reason for doing that. Like, are you worried about traumatic brain injury? Are you like a really high level boxer? Like, what's your actual reason to offset the health risk? Aiden says, I think you mentioned a video that some of the whole bolt cut idea is partly a remnant of bodybuilding bro science of the past. Yeah. And I mean, powerlifting and everything else, not just bodybuilding. Having a bit of a pencil neck and I want to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, but is it worth dying for? Is my question. Like, are you willing to die for it though? Is my question. Then okay, so there's no health risk. Or not necessarily die, but are you willing to sleep with a CPAP on? Like, what are you getting out of it that's going to justify the CPAP? Because CPAP is really annoying, dude. It really mess with your love life big time, having to hook that machine up to your face when you sleep. Your wife doesn't like it a whole lot. So how strong and big are you? Well, no one cares that anyone thinks at the commercial gym. That's irrelevant. No one cares. Shouldn't even be a factor. So how strong are you on all the lifts that would work your upper body? You know, because dudes will talk about a pencil neck, but then it's also how strong are you? Bro is training to gobble the glizzy. Oh my god. You know, like, are you a pretty advanced lifter? Because if you're not real advanced yet, then your neck is going to get bigger just from rows and deadlifts and shoulder work, and your neck is going to get bigger over time. A lot of dudes forget that. All right. When you get to where you can rep 500 on the deadlift, rep 225 on rows, you know, your neck is going to be pretty big no matter what. I did it today, but I'll drop them, don't want to sleep. Yeah, so be very careful about it directly hypertrophying all of this on the front end. All right. Something could restrict your airway when you're sleeping. You know? But if you just build your traps and everything up, anything that builds your traps will build your neck, you know, to some extent. So you might not have a pencil neck, you might just not have traps yet. Giovanni says, greetings, Coach. Grip it and rip it. What's up, Giovanni? On the Facebook. You know. But again, remember, Matt, as you gain muscle in your upper back and shoulder region, your neck will get bigger over time as a result of that also. And like I said, I do some neck training, but I only do extensions. And I'm up to doing 20 reps with a 55-pound plate with a harness on. I can't say that it's made my neck any bigger, though. Right? I can't tell a difference. But it helps with headaches, reduces concussion risk. Thruway says, run hills with 80-pound backpack and your neck will grow like a weed. Yeah, because anything pulling down on the traps, right? Anything that pulls on those traps or works the traps. I mean, all your back and shoulder work will have some carryover there too. It's going to have some carryover. It's always so strange when people call me a leech. I just don't understand. Because I run an internet business, it doesn't make any sense. So self-employed people, no, we pay higher taxes than you do. It's a very weird statement. Like we have to pay higher taxes than normal people. You know, we're the opposite. I would say people with corporate jobs are leeches then. They pay less taxes per every dollar they make. All right. I mean, if we have to categorize someone. Hell, they get paid time off, paid vacations, lower taxes. It's like, come on, man. Small business people, we don't get any of that. We don't get those benefits. We don't get days off without pay, and we have to pay the self-employed penalty on our taxes. Best approach in your opinion to increasing a max pull-up, say if someone was building for a military police fitness screening test, my approach would be to get stronger. Let's come back over to the same sort of other question. Are you looking for a set answer to all human beings? I don't have one. I do not have one. It needs to be individual programming based upon where you are in your experience levels and what else you're doing with your training. But I mean, if you just get strong at weighted pull-ups, your max pull-up will go up. Or you could do max pull-ups. I mean, so, and then we could get pretty extreme with it. We could get really extreme with it. Like if your most important goal in life was increase max pull-ups, I'd consider skipping all lower body training and maybe even getting them amputated. Like if you could lose the legs completely, that would help a lot. I give facetious answers because occasionally I get someone will say something like, what if my only goal is to increase my max pull-ups? Well, you didn't say anything about not being disabled in your goals or keeping your legs. So I'd get them amputated, right? If you're really serious about that goal, you know. Or at the very least, don't train them or walk or anything. Like make sure you have no muscle in your lower body. That'll help. No, but the joking aside, the programming would very much depend on how strong you are with them already. But I would say it would be in your best interest to get quite lean because the leaner you are, if you have 20 pounds less fat, that's worth a substantial increase, right? So if you had the same muscle, but you could weigh 180 instead of 200, that's going to make pull-ups easier. But otherwise, get good at weighted pull-ups, get good at other supplemental work like rows and so on, you know, and keep your body weight, you know, in check and body fat in check. But again, it's kind of like your other question, you know, it's very dependent. That's like asking any other exercise. I'd be like, hey, Jason, what's the best way to get your bench press up? Well, it's going to depend on you as a person. There's a lot of variables involved. But if you get stronger at your weighted pull-ups, your number of body weight pull-ups will go up by default. right? Just like your 20 rep max will go up on a bench press if your on rep max goes up. The stronger you are, the better you are at rep work. Can you dig it? I know people don't always like it when you give those answers, but a lot of times it really does depend. And that's not making stuff needlessly complex. People make stuff more complex than it needs to be in fitness. That's a bad habit. But in this case, when we're talking about stuff like that, you have to factor in the variables. Now, people overcomplicate programming. They overcomplicate exercise selection. They overcomplicate form on single joint exercises. You know how hard it is to get it wrong? You know, Omar yourself has a free weighted pull-up program, ran it before, works great. You know. Jason, do you eat eggs? I think they're a good protein source. Well, do you see in my food pictures every day, Robbie? Do you follow any of my other social media? I put up food all the time, dude. So yeah, I eat eggs. You got to follow my other social media, dude. You would see a lot of my food. So right here, this is my breakfast. From yesterday. Coach, you posted some funny memes. I'm gonna be hitting the memes super hard. Remember when I went really hard on the memes and I was getting 100 million views a month? I want to see if we can get back to that. Thoughts on the Clarence Kennedy Vegan Gains and Alpha Destiny collab? I talked about it for 30 minutes straight a couple days ago. We did a whole live stream on it, man. Trill says, what happened? Why did I quit posting memes? I'm not going to discuss the specific details. That would be way too much inside information on my business model and the workings of my business page. So I'm not answering that. I mean, if you're someone trying to grow a page and you want to hire me for a consultation, I will, but I'm not making that stuff public. No, I don't really need to bring back the old school drama format because that would mean I would have to watch these fucktards every day. The problem is I don't want to watch these people. I hemorrhage brain cells watching these fitness influencers. I lose IQ points and knowledge just by watching them. So it hurts me. It hurts my mindset. I can make money other ways. So anything I cover, I want to be able to do it without watching their videos. Right. But I mean, it literally destroys my intellect to hear these blithering idiots talk. Belford, I'm not answering that again. I've already discussed client Emma already. We don't need to keep recovering every day, every former client. Sorry, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I mean, I've talked that one till I'm blue in the face for a year straight. We can move on from it. It's not really that important for anybody to know. I want to get my 18-year-old little brother into lifting. He's not interested. Tell him, dude, he's your little brother, man. You just tell him to go to the gym. What do you mean? You just tell him, hey, man, we're going to the gym. Come on. Let's go lift some weights, pussy. And just go to the gym with him, dude. It's a done deal. Right. Yep, influencers junk nowadays. It's all skinny. It's just skinny kids on drugs, man. It's just skinny kids on trend who weigh $170. Count your macros, shoot trend, take clean, throw some SARMs in, and do some pump work. There you go. That's their method. Do some pump work on a machine. But the trend and the clean is the key. And they've been deported, it must be the case. Probably. And they're still small. All right. And when you meet these guys, you understand what I'm saying. When you actually meet different influencers in real life, it becomes completely different. Squat day, bench day, deadlift day, go home, take deep bowl drink. Right, Matt? You remember that quote? That dude was a monster. Oh my God. Was he? Are you asking? Was he big for his height? You realize I gave Matt Ogas a piggyback ride in front of the crowd, right? Like a child. Hundreds of people saw me give Matt Ogas a piggyback ride down the middle of the expo. I mean, he's Ogas is. No, I wouldn't describe him as big. No. Yeah, I've met Semi Amanda. Jeff's side took off. He didn't want anything to do with me. My girlfriend's little brother spent $743 on Derek's supplements and products in his affiliate link using their parents' credit card. Man, all threw their parents' money away too. Ogus has a good physique, but would I describe him as big? Like, is he my size big? Or bigger than me big? Like, how big? How are you defining as big? What's this about ice deporting? That's the rumor, man. Bradley, that is the rumor. So, but those are proportionate questions. So how are you defining as big arms and shoulders? Like, do you think that I have big arms right now? Not talking proportion, but in terms of measurement where I'm at right now. Like, do you consider my arms big so that I can get a reference? He probably had 16-inch arms. Keep in mind, this has been a really, 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 really long time, though, for me to go back and remember. We're talking like 12 years ago. When will you train conjugate again? I don't currently have plans to train conjugate again. I never have plans to train conjugate again. I just end up training conjugate again. So when you say, when will you train conjugate again? Well, the only honest answer would be whenever I decide one day that I'm ready to run it again, then I'll run it again. That's always the answer. I never plan on running it again, but I end up oftentimes running it again. Did Chris Jones of POG have a middle grade? Not to my knowledge. Why would you ask that? No, I've not heard any such thing. No, I've never met Callie. But if you guys recall on camera, when he got asked at an expo about me, he pulled out a knife and said he wasn't scared of Jason Blaha, and he pulled a knife out. On camera. show that knife that he wasn't scared of me. You know, and those of you who've seen The Untouchables, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, right? So I don't know what he thought he was doing. Yeah, I mean, you pull a knife out on somebody who you've had, unkind words to, it's not going to go well. What's your best stuff on YouTube? So like 635. Robbie, I got 635 videoed on the homepage here. Like, so go to the homepage of my channel, and there's a 635 on it. We just chalked belt and on the Texas Power Bar, so not a whippy bar. Cali Muscle should still apologize to all the child victims. I mean, he did make jokes about it in public. Ever heard any songs by Burzum? I don't know who that is. Yeah, as he said, so use my search engine. So go to my channel. Every channel has a search engine on it. You can look through just that channel's videos and hit 635. All right. There's some 625s too there. There's even a 625 at a charity event. I missed 635. I failed 635 at the charity event, but I got it later on camera. But I failed it. I couldn't lock it at the event, unfortunately. But even that 625, what was your peak body weight? I don't understand the question. How are you defining peak body weight? Because I used to be a fat dude before I got into lifting. So this could be a really different answer than what you're seeking. Because I weighed over 300 pounds before I got into fitness. Hey, Balfred, I don't know, but I'm not going to discuss that and get myself canceled. I've been approximately 320 as a non-lifter. I think the most I've weighed while on YouTube as a lifter is maybe 245. So when I was squatting 600, I was 245. What would you say? 2 plates and a quarter weighs on a Smith, about 100 pounds. Smith machine doesn't carry over. I've probably been approximately ballpark 320. And I got down to 170, and then I got serious about lifting. Smith machine doesn't carry over, so I don't know. The Smith machine probably takes 50 or 100 pounds off. Like, you can just take Smith machines with your finger and just lift the bar, and it just glides up. The bar is almost non-existent weight. So probably just whatever the weight of the plates. The bar doesn't even count towards your lifts on a Smith. Because most Smith machines, you can walk over with your pinky finger and just lift the bar. Do you like reggae? I don't actively listen to any reggae, but are you asking, does the reggae sound nice sometimes? Like, do I know any reggae bands or actively seek it out? No, but have I heard reggae that sounded good? Yes. Um, should they have Smith machine only? No, Smith machine should be banned. Today's squats were a little high, like you said. Will you change your stance a bit? No, because it's easy on my shoulders to just do the high bar with that really close stance, and it builds my legs. No, I'm just going to leave it there for a little bit till I'm ready to low bar. Have you ever tried psychedelics? That's hard to answer. How do I put this? A bunch of my friends tried acid, had some LSD when I was really young. I mean, I couldn't tell you, maybe 14, 13. And it didn't do anything. All my friends were tripping from it and hallucinating, and it didn't do anything. And they all swore that they really got an effect, and I didn't do anything. So I just went to bed. We were all hanging out doing a sleepover. So that's my entire experience with psychedelics. I don't know if it was real or not. But sure, as a teenager, I tried some one time, and my other friends were all doing it in a social setting, and they all swore it worked, and I didn't notice anything. I think it was just paper, but that's about it. Did you ever accept Alpha Destiny's apology? What apology? I'm unaware that he gave any apology. He's acting like a little bitch. Yeah, high bar, you can go a little higher. Yeah. No, and I have no desire to ever go to Africa. No offense intended, but I have no interest in ever setting foot on the continent of Africa at any point in my life. It's not on my to-do list. Maybe if you gave me $1 million, I'd go visit for a week, but I sure as hell wouldn't do it for free. All right. I'm actually feeling good on a lower carb approach, coach, and I'm looking noticeably leaner. Just got to touch over 100 grams of carbs. The guy C beta. So yeah, what are you saying his apology? When did he apologize? You're the first person to say that he's apologized at all. I'm unaware of said apology. Did you just make that up out of nowhere? And if he did it, then why didn't anybody tell me about it? Not one soul. And he didn't come link it either. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say it never happened. I used to work with a guy from Africa, though. His name was Gideon. He was from Nigeria. He was a funny dude. Yeah, I think he just made that up. Chasing Gains. I saw some West African dude working out the other day. He was massive. Okay. I mean, how do you know he was West African? Did he tell you what country he was from? So I don't understand the relevance to this. Matt says, I don't know if you've ever discussed this before, but what do you think about people who eat in a surplus on training days and a small deficit on non-training days during a lean bulk? I don't know why they do it. He said he was from Nigeria. Okay. All right. I mean, I've met plenty of massive dudes. They're called pro bodybuilders on tons of drugs. And I've seen no reason to think there's anything specific there. I don't believe that myth, actually, that people have that black dudes just get really jacked easily natural. I've never seen it happen. I think it's a myth. I just see some guy lifting mud weight looking like that as well. So, like, what do you mean lifting mud weight? I've seen a couple guys in prison that were black and they were insane IPP pro potential. They still had drugs though in prison. Gear is still available in a lot of prisons. You'd be surprised. I've just never seen this phenomenon. Um, you know, when you talk to dudes, they're always on drugs, or I see a lot of really lean black dudes, but they're not necessarily bigger, right? They'll be really lean. So I think people are mistaking the leanness and the armfulness and the arm insertions and the leanness with them being massive. But when you stand over next to them, they're really these same dudes that people think that when you get next to them, they're not really that big. So he's 175. So he wasn't massive, dude. So when you tell me, this is again, I come from a more hardcore background. When you tell me massive, I'm thinking 240, 250 with abs, right? But my own world is skewed because I've been around a lot of serious bodybuilders. I've been around a lot of juiced up big dudes. And I mean, even now, I'm walking around at 210. So to me, a 175-pound dice guy isn't big. Because again, if they're smaller than me, and I see myself in the mirror every day, my head doesn't go, "Hey, this guy is massive." Makes sense? Um, but I feel you. Even me, it's like, right. You think relative strength is the most important in powerlifting metric? Let me check this in gamer. Relative strength in terms of your Wilk score? Yes, I mean it is the most important because 99% of people don't compete in the super heavies. 99+% of powerlifters are not in the super heavies. So yes, how your scores and the relative strength is determined by dots these days. Your weight class, your sex, and your age are all factored into the score. Right? And that determines how you rank. Since the overwhelming majority of people are not 400 pounds who compete. That's really a very tiny segment of the powerlifting community. I've been to meets where there was not a single super heavyweight. Or sometimes if there was and it's a regional meet, the dude's not even the strongest dude there. But I mean, I've also been to some meets where there were some crazy strong dudes. Some of the strongest dudes I've seen in raw lifting were not even the super heavies. They're like the 275s or the 308s, not the 308 over 308, but the 308s and the 275s. I've seen some monsters, especially here in Texas. And I'm talking 700-800 pound squats and deadlifts, dudes. Right? What is the reason that why most of the top 10 world's rankings dots? I didn't know that they were. I didn't know it was most. I would need to see that. That 3:15 for 5 is crazy, bro. Respect that. Appreciate it, man. I'm gonna keep working it up from there. I think you said that the middleweight guys like Elliot Hulse. I don't think that I said that. But I mean, I don't think I said that at all. That sounds like not something I said. But, right. But I mean, relative strength is how powerlifting is judged, right? According to all those scores are calculated in. Chasing gain 6'7" cattle farmers weighing right. When you're at a powerlifting meet, are you about the average size? Depends on the flight. I don't know how to put that, Charlie, because there's such a wide variation. I mean, I need to pull up the numbers, but I mean, I'd say like the last meet I was at, I was probably in the top 30 to 35% of guys in terms of size, but there were some big dudes there, right? Does that make sense? So it's like I could say, yeah, I was in the top third of the field in terms of size, just looking across all the dudes, but there were some monsters there. So then I'm not going to perceive it that way, right? When you see a dude walk over who's 6'5", 275 with an 850 deadlift, I'm just not going to feel like I'm one of the bigger guys standing next to him. All right. Really, your squats and deadlifts are even more insane, or just getting into the squats and deadlifts. A year into training, awesome chasing gains. Get after it, brother. Get after it, homie. Deadlift will always be my baby. That's my favorite lift. Yeah, 300 plus pounders with traps up to their necks pulling 900. I mean, we'll see those dudes, and they're, how do I put this? If you've been around pro bodybuilders, the pro bodybuilders don't look big next to those guys at all. Those guys look bigger, right? So, like, having been in the same room with Kai Green, yeah, those guys like that you're seeing at a powerlifting meet, they make Kai Green look small. But then you see pictures of him, and some jackass will say, your size equals strength, and how come Kai Green's bigger than him? It's like he's not. He looks like a child next to them. They look like they'd pick him up and eat him as a snack. Jason, thoughts on dips with a forward lean for chest activation, but elbows tucked for tricep? I mean, the forward lean is going to give you the best chest, but you're not going to be able to keep the elbows tucked. You're going to have to turn those elbows out at the bottom to get the chest engagement, dude. Yeah, exactly. So these guys, you'll do a double take. So yeah, you see a guy who's 6'5" who deadlifts 800. No, you're not thinking you're looking at a human being at that point. Right. Right. So when we talk about this size equals strength, no, we do mean it. People confuse having really beautiful biceps with size. Right? They confuse the two. When Thor handed out a trophy at Mr. Olympia, he made everyone look like children, right? No, I can't stand black pill philosophy. I say cut all the black pill. If you know anyone who's black pill, just cut them out of your life. Unfriend them until they drop that nonsense. They'll cause depression. They're a cancer. Like, people who believe in the black pill movement are just an absolute cancer, dude. Just cut them out of your life. My sister just caught a glimpse of you on the screen and said, oh, damn. Okay. Well, I appreciate the compliment. I guess it's a compliment, unless she said, and that is a really ugly old man. She might have been like, who's this old bald-headed dude on your screen? No, it's not good. What if you go very deep? You can't. If your elbows are too tucked, you're not going to be able to get that stretch you're looking for. They're going to have to come out, ideally. Right? They're going to have to come out. Your triceps are going to get worked on a dip at the top. As long as you squeeze them hard and push through, your triceps are going to get worked. So I tell most guys, you're better off focusing on your chest. Just get that forward lean, man. Just get real strong. It's not like the triceps are not going to get activated, but getting those elbows out at the bottom is going to give you that chest activation that you want. All right. But bro, if you want double D's like Coach, you want your chest to stick way out, you're going to have to do stuff like that, bro. That's why I bench what I bench. I need to get my triceps up more, honestly. Uh-oh. My chair's acting funny. Sherry's like, what did you do to us? Oh, it ran across the rug. Felt different. I've moved my rug back. So elbows out the bottom, the more tuck. I mean, I wouldn't worry about the tuck at the top, honestly. Particularly if it's costing you performance. Like if you're wasting energy trying to do that, that's costing you out of the bottom, then no. Your triceps are going to get worked. I think if you start over focusing on stuff like that, you're going to have to take 50 pounds off, or you're going to lose 5 reps or something. Like over obsessing over stuff like that is going to kill your performance. It's going to kill your overall size on that big movement. Stop with the paralysis by analysis. Get that stretch on the dips. That bottom is critical, and your triceps are going to get worked anyway. So if you're just trying to hit the triceps harder, just try to lock out at the top. Don't start trying to tuck and all that stuff on the dip. Again, you're wasting energy. Everyone, no, they don't. Everyone says flat bench is loosest and incline is the way to go, and I built my chest on flat bench and it's pretty dang good. I know plenty of dudes who say the flat bench is king for chest. I know people with advanced degrees who say that. I mean, Dr. Mike said that. Jeff Nippard's even said the flat bench is amazing for chest. Ronnie Coleman, let's set aside what's his name? C.T. Fletcher said, them E equals MC squared MFers, right? Set those aside. How about Ronnie Coleman? Yeah, bench press is the best chest exercise. It's my go-to. You know. Thoughts on SBL? Who? Saying squat patterns aren't needed for total quad development, only leg extensions. I don't know who she is, but she sounds like a silly hoe. So whoever SBL is, you tell her that I said to shut her mouth. And if she got a problem with it, she can come over to the channel. I'm getting an exact thing with my bench right now, paralysis by analysis, everyone's cues and tips, right? Flat bench is great for shoulder. I don't get any shoulder impingement on it. Dude, I'm turning 49 in less than 2 weeks, and you're watching me do 5 pause reps with 315. And I don't get any science-based lifters. I don't know any true science-based lifters who say that. Did you even see, man, you know who destroyed that the other day? How about Christian Thibodeau? So would you classify, he's one of my friends, we're bros. So Christian wrote a whole thing up on that the other day, making fun of people saying that the squat isn't an amazing exercise for hypertrophy performance quads. He did a whole write-up on it. Would you classify Christian Thibodeau as a science-based lifter? Considering he does have a master's degree in exercise science and physiology, right? Would that be classified as a science base? Considering he did do his graduate work in exercise physiology. He just did a write-up last week on it. If you know how to bench correctly, you won't get hurt exactly. Bobber said, thoughts on Dr. Todd Lee, who? That's been debunked by plenty of endocrinologists who've shown the blood work of their patients. Test SIP stays stable at 14 days. I do weekly, but it stays stable at 14. Once you get full saturation. You think with decent genetics getting to 315 natty if you hopped on moderate gear? I got to 315 natty barely in my youth. I don't know about easily, no. Dog. So a guy getting 315 only and then only moderate gear, it's a crapshoot if he's going to get to 405. I give it 50, but you said note, you said moderate. Your idea of moderate may not be the same as mine. Well, Doc, that's subject to a lot of debate, isn't it? I guess we don't know for sure who he is other than he's an Algerian. Right? A lot of today's bodybuilders don't have great chests. What do you mean? He follows the works of Friedrich Nietzsche. Yeah, I mean, he made 27 hours of documentaries. 27 hours. He made the first 3 to 5 hours of them before I even heard his name or knew anything about him. It's absolutely ludicrous. And then it was all nonsense. There we go. Resilient survive. Here I am. Still doing my thing. Still training every day on camera. Still coaching. In many ways, you're like, I'll take that as a compliment. I mean, whether you love or hate Trump, you have to admit he's resilient. Right? And I would say that even someone says, no, I hate that. I hate him. Yet here he is. So lots of people hate him. They've come at him. And he still managed to become president again. Like, you can hate the guy while admitting he's resilient, because you wouldn't hate him if he wasn't resilient, right? He would have been gone already, right? I mean, in terms of rating success, becoming president of the United States twice ranks pretty high on success. Successfully winning the presidency of the United States more than once is a very rare feat, so you have to give him that. I'd rather hit a 350 natty. I'm just curious. 350 natty is very rare. Not impossible. It's just very rare chasing gains. Recording your lifts makes you lift more. I think it does. Followed you for 10 years, and I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate the kind words, man. I do agree, though. The recording gives you that accountability. Like, if you're recording all your stuff, man, you don't want to puss out. No, there's a method to it. So me documenting all my lifts really works wonders for my own training, because people are going to see my screw ups. When my form is bad, when my range of motion is bad, when I have minor injuries and things that have caused different, like, everyone's going to see it. If I miss workouts, everybody's going to know. Like, it makes it the degree of accountability. So chasing, you mentioned 300 with 1 year of serious training. I'm going to check your channel out. And by the way, that is not calling you a liar, by the way, because I've seen that sort of thing done. It's insane, though. That's why I want to see what you look like, because you have really, really good genetics, is what that tells me. All right. To bench 300 at 1 year is really, really good genetics. Like, I'm talking at least top 10%. Thoughts on shoulder width pull-ups? I think they work great. Yeah. All right. Also, Jason, you need to bring back the rational diet talks. I haven't been doing that many informative things. They're all up there, though. The videos are all still there. As you said, something funny anyway. Dude, yeah, you can eat a perfectly clean, healthy diet at Walmart, right? ASF says I was able to get to a 300 bench natural when I was like 20, but that's solid. So what happened? You couldn't do it now? How much older are you? But no, it's absolutely true. The forearm engagement on shoulder width pull-ups to the next level. You're 40 now. Gotcha. Bananas, black beans, chicken breast. Yep. Yeah. And it's true. Dude, nobody's getting fat on that stuff. And don't you love it when people make these cop outs? Well, it's calories in out, and if you eat a calorie surplus, you will. Like, dude, you know how hard it would be, right? Do you know how hard it would be to reach a large enough surplus to gain 30 pounds of fat eating that? Come on. It's hypothetically possible, but it's one of those, it's also hypothetically possible, right? It's hypothetically possible to win the lottery. So that sort of answer is, you tell someone, guys, it's almost impossible to make more than $1 million in 1 year. If you win the lottery or you get a really, really, really good job. Like, do you see how stupid of an answer? That is the level of stupidity of that answer. No, if you got into a big enough calorie surplus, it's like, yeah, okay, that's the equivalent of what we just said. Most people are not going to be able to do it. Right? Coach, how to get my lower abs to pop out? You have to get leaner. Has anyone ever eaten over 5 apples in a sitting? Sure. I don't think I still have the +5 head of weaponsmithing. It might have got thrown out with the whole mold incident. Vegan Gains probably what, eating 5 apples in one sitting. Vegan Gains has probably put 5 apples up his booty hole in one sitting. If we just gonna be honest, he's probably done it on camera for money. I'm legit trying to copy. Be very careful with my grip width. That took me a year to build up to that. Scott, appreciate the super chat, brother. It's called the 1% for a reason, right? It's also hypothetically possible to die from smoking unlaced cannabis, but you need to basically inhale multiple pounds worth of plant material nonstop for plus hours. It's effectively impossible, right? Vegan Gains tried to say you were fat. He's been way, way, way fatter than I am right now. Here's the thing. How delusional does a person have to be to call me fat? In today's society, who's my favorite guitarist? Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray. Great job, and don't get disheartened. There you go. Appreciate it, man. Oh, I'm not going to get disheartened. Definitely Stevie Ray Vaughan. Although I do like a lot of rock guitars. I actually really, I like AC/DC and ZZ Top. I'm a big fan of, obviously, Angus Young and Billy Gibbons and so on. I really like Randy Rhoads as a guitarist. What do you mean now? He was on Juice years ago. All right. How about Lonnie Mack? I'm not familiar. I don't know Lonnie Mack. No. Internet gym culture is delusional about reality and body images incels. Now that I think about it, just in a different ways, right? If I heard of Scuttlebutton, I've tried to learn it. I want to eventually learn Scuttlebutton. Actually, did you really just ask someone who told you Stevie Ray Vaughan is their favorite guitarist if they've ever heard of Scuttlebutton? It's the craziest little lick he's got. Right? I can't even do it. You know what's crazy is that he does it with one finger. So it's one of those when you have people try to teach that whole lick and you watch him play it, he plays the whole lick with one finger. Right? So it's that. He does that with one finger. Everybody else is using 3 fingers to try to learn it. Even when it's taught, he uses just one finger, this finger. Man. Only back pay with you, Ray Vaughan. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. I ran tests 6 years ago. Haven't touched it since. I'm considered natty. Now, once you're not really natty, but who cares? Like, do you care if you're considered natty? Dudes spend way too much time worried about this. Does anybody but you care if you're natty? No, by the technical definition, no, but does it matter? Alpha Destiny tried to adopt Blaha as his dad. Yeah, he then switched. Yep. Then he tried to latch onto a ridiculous UFC fraud lunatic, then tried to latch on to Bugenhagen. Got laughed at by, yeah, because the whole rat pull and stuff. Yeah, he did. He just kind of chased different father figures, but it's like, you do that and you do stupid stuff, you're going to get rejected. You know, he did the fake overhead press and he started doing the rack pull stuff, and I clowned him for it. Like, just stop. Right. Yeah, who cares? Do what you want, man, right? Yep. Then he was doing like 5 different obscure deadlift variations. And even then, man, he goes to deadlift on camera. What does he do? Sumo with straps, which is not a valid deadlift in any federation on earth. No sport recognizes a sumo with straps. So why can't he just do a deadlift? He gets put on this camera with these other dudes and he can't just do a deadlift. Remember that Iron Musket? Yeah, I vaguely remember, vaguely. You know, it's just, he just got to stop. And definitely don't try to call me out. If you were to choose one current fitness persona that you respect now, who would that be? I'm going to go with Hattie James because she got that booty. All right, next. It just came out. I apologize. That wasn't right. That wasn't right, man. Now the dudes are all going to go look her up. They'll be like, wait, who? All right. Throw the straps in the trash. No, oh, they got to be a male. I have a 1 penis per room rule. So, but it just came out. I didn't have a filter. I blurted it out without even thinking. It was just, I apologize. That wasn't right. I apologize to Miss Hattie James for my uncouth, ungentlemanlike behavior there. Deeply, deeply sorry. I don't know. I got to pick. So I like Christian Thibodeau. We're friends. So I respect him. I respect Chris Duffin and so on. You know, I don't respect any of these kids because they're a bunch of dumbass kids. I'm not trying to be mean, but dude, you're 25 years old. Like, you don't know anything about lifting. Just stop. I'm going to leave Brom because Bromley's just come at me. So no, I don't necessarily respect him. All right. I think she's Australian, actually. Yeah. Well, he popped off about deadlifts. He clowned me for resetting on my deadlifts and tried to say, well, in strongman, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, you're in straps in a suit. Just stop. Right. Exactly. So he did it for clout. He had a problem with me and showed me resetting on deadlifts on every rep. And I'm like, sorry, dude, I power lift. Like, what's the issue with it? He called it out like it's a bad thing. So let me see. That's a good question. I don't know where she's from. I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, I guess she is British. Yeah, so she did the wellness division from the UK. Yep, I did not know that. She's from South Yorkshire. I thought she was Australian. Shows how little I know. We've discussed the Mike Israel Tell scandal in detail. We've done whole live streams about it already, man. That's old news, bro. Old news. Luke says, myself, I don't watch other sides, Jason, but Scott Herman used to make good lifting newbie content. Yeah, they were good. I haven't really watched Vigorous Steve. I know he does a little gear stuff. I've seen a little bit in the past. I mean, to be fair, in terms of good newbie content, Scott Herman wasn't bad. I might have clowned him here or there a little bit, but really and truly, his novice info for noobs was pretty good. It really was. It was pretty good. Definitely ABC. But you can't. I mean, yeah, it was ABC, but right, it was still decent for noobs because it was the basics. It was the basics. I'm about to wind this down though, guys, because I got to get some more memes up in just a minute. I'll check your last question and I'll wind it down. Let me wind down the Facebook though. Do you think we're looking at civil war? Possibly, but that would be over real fast. That would be pretty one-sided. One side, you got all the pew-pews. One side is scared of guns, and the other side has 500 million of them. See how this kind of works? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys, if you look closely, there's actually a Glock 19 visible on camera right now. I'll give you a hint if you haven't spotted it. It's not black. Bag push, you good, man? The bag push is strapped. All right. But I'm going to wind it down, guys. I'm going to give you guys a bicep shot before we go. Oh, Mount Bicephalus. And we're out of here.